You know that feeling when someone shows up for you just when you need it most? That's what Uber is all about. Not just a ride or dinner at your door. It's how Uber helps you show up for the moments that matter. Because showing up can turn a tough day around or make a good one even better. Whatever it is, big or small, Uber is on the way. So you can be on yours. Uber, on our way.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Well, welcome to another exciting edition of Talking Real Money, the only show you'll ever need to help you manage your money. This is the one. The rest of them, I don't think that much of, I can't even think of one I like. I really can't. I listen to a lot of money shows. I can't think of one I like. Can you think of one?
Yeah, I could think of a few that I like, yeah.
A money show?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
On the radio?
I think Jill on the Money is a good show.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty
And
good.
I think the consumer guy is good.
Clark Howard?
I think that's a good show.
Yeah, he's good, but not investing. He's so.
Yeah,
Dave
doesn't
Ramsey,
spend as much time.
terrible with investing.
Very good about getting at it. So there's aspects of them, but in general, most of them are there designed to move you in a certain direction to perhaps buy a product from them.
A commissioned kind of product from them.
So.
And we are living in strange times, really strange times. I'm going to get to that in a minute. I want to give you a phone number first, because if you want to talk about the strange times and how they affect your bottom line, our phone number is 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. That works 24 hours a day, but it's particularly effective on Saturday afternoons between noon and 2 Pacific, 3 to 5 Eastern, because that's when you can call and actually have a conversation with us. And we are nice and safe in our little studios. We're all tucked in while people are rioting all over the country. This feels like, I was 10 years old watching TV, watching Walter Cronkite of an evening in 1967 when he talked about the long, hot summer in America. And is this weird? We've got COVID. We've got stock market that crashed and then went back up again. We've got people unemployed, and now we have race riots again.
Yeah, you got the race, and then not that far down the road is going to be this rather important national election that's only like 5 months away, right? That's going to decide.
Oh, great! We're going to get the Chicago thing.
Well, I don't
again
know
at the
about
conventions.
That. But what this does is people are piling this onto the already huge wall of worry that they had around the pandemic.
Yeah.
Around what happened in the financial markets, around the election, all these things. I've talked to a few of you this week, which is still the best part of my job. And I'm hoping as things get opened up, we'll get to do more of that. And by the way, you didn't mention the live chat. So if you don't want to be on the show, you can
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, okay.
We're going to get there.
Let's finish this, because I can tell that this gives many of you angst. Right?
Well, I don't want to be in the market when all this bad stuff's going on.
Like one more thing that I'll wait till things are, and I love this word, and I hear it a lot, normal.
Yeah.
Well, there ain't no normal in today's parlance. There's just life. Tomorrow it may be whatever new crisis comes. Maybe China is going to be back up. We don't know. And so the reality is, as horrible as this, what happened in Minneapolis, and as awful in some ways that the reaction's been, I think people have a right to protest. I don't think they have a right to burn things and destroy property. But they got a right to be angry about what happened, no question. But the question to you is, if you're an investor, should you be waiting for the new normal whenever when they ring the bell? I don't know when that's going to happen.
But this is vaguely familiar, because remember in March when the market was tanking. The stock market was tanking, and we did get a lot of calls from people saying, well, I think I'll just wait until the market starts to go up again.
Yeah.
And it did go up again.
A lot.
Boy, did it go up again. And it did it under this cloud, or climbing this proverbial wall of worry. It's climbed the wall of worry until, where's the S&P right now?
Well, the S&P 500 is only down 5% year to date. A globally diversified portfolio is still down 19%, but more important number to most of you is the fact that a balanced portfolio, 60% stocks, 40% in bonds, it's down just a little over 10%. I mean, this is not the crash of 29. It's not the debacle of 87. It appears not going to be as long lasting as the bear market of 08, 09. So what should you do knowing that we're in this situation, Don? That's what we'll talk about.
Well, and that's all the more reason for you to call us, too, to find out what you should be doing to get perspective. Give us a call, 855-935-TALK. That's 855-935-8255. I'm Don McDonald. That's Tom Cock. And we're trying to make your life and your future better.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Most of you get really bad investing advice, but it's not your fault. The fault lies with the broken business model that dates back more than 100 years and some misguided investing attitudes. So, if you're ready to start investing and stop playing around with your money, you need to find a way to bypass the bad brokers and find full-time fiduciary advice. Funny, that just happens to be the name of our next free online class on June 10th at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Do you know if your financial advisor is always required to act in your best interest? Are you paying them a huge commission? Do you have a fee-based advisor and know how much they charge? Maybe you have a hodgepodge portfolio made of a variety of hot tips and changing strategies. This is just a little part of what you'll learn during our Zoom class, Bypass Bad Brokers and Find Full-Time Fiduciaries. You can register for it free right now at TalkingRealMoney.com, TalkingRealMoney.com. In addition to banishing the bad brokers, we'll tell you exactly what you need to look for in a 100% fiduciary advisor. So save your spot at Bypass Bad Brokers and Find Full-Time Fiduciaries at TalkingRealMoney.com, TalkingRealMoney.com. Click on the event button. And by the way, if you're hearing this after June 10th, 2020, the event already happened, but go to TalkingRealMoney.com anyway and see if we have some other events coming up.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
The thing you deal with more than you deal with anything else in your life is money. And, right now it's a difficult time. Right now we want some knowledge of the future because the future feels so weird. It feels more unknown than it usually does, but the reality is it's always unknown.
Well, the future
really.
It's always uncertain. And by the way, you've been paid for exposing your money to that uncertainty in a way. I mean, that's what stocks and stock markets are.
If you were in the stock market.
Yeah, I mean, over time you have. So, and just to go back because we could give you list A, the bad news. There's a long list there. We give you list B, the good news, right? I mean, there's all kinds of things that are happening out of the virus that look very positive. Right? I mean, they're
like in 6 minutes and 49 seconds, we're going to launch men into space again.
We're going to be a blast off. This is going to be the biggest blast off since Don McDonald heard about that bad broker sale a couple of weeks ago. Boom. Big explosion. Okay, but let's just generally.
Don't get me started.
I know. And when you tell me I don't want to invest my money now because I'm nervous about the future, I don't argue with you. I'm never going to win that argument. You are always, because that's an emotional argument. But here's the thing. I think you should always consider, number one, how long until you need the money? If it's less than 5 years, then you probably shouldn't be in stocks. Number two, how much volatility are you willing to accept? Right? The ups and downs. That's why we have the free risk quiz. You can go take it anytime at TalkingRealMoney.com. Number three, what rate of return on your money would you like to try to achieve? Because if you say, I don't really care, then just
most possible.
Well,
I want a lot.
Most people want to make a lot of money and not take any risk. I want to make a lot of money,
but I don't want any risk.
It was on Ozark this week, not this week, the season one.
Yeah, because you're watching old episodes.
He's pitching this elderly woman, and I'm making my wife watch it. And he says, well, so here's how I do it. I do it safe, with a lot of return. And I pause it. I go, what's wrong with that statement? And by the way, exactly. He called it a scheme. I go, a scheme? Even my daughter's like, that sounds kind of iffy, Dad. I said, yeah,
scheme.
My scheme involves safety with a lot of upside.
A lot of upside.
So you need to know those things before you invest anything. That should be the key. You got to figure out where to put all that emotion somewhere else and not let it eat you up when it comes to your money.
And they're scary all the time. There's always something scary. There are times that feel more scary than others. And I talked about, when I was 10 years old, turning 11 in the summer of 67, when there were 159 race riots in the United States over that 3-month period.
There were 40 plus people died in Detroit in one of those riots.
Yeah, Detroit and Newark were both awful. There were lots of them. I mean, in Buffalo, New York, for heaven's sake. But there were all these race riots. 1967, we had the Vietnam War. It was terrible.
11,000 people, really 11,000 Americans died that year in the Vietnam War. Horrible.
It was a very uncomfortable time for everybody. But, I went and looked. If you had invested in a 100% equity portfolio diversified around the planet, and you held that for the next 20 years, you just were investing for retirement.
Yep.
In 67, and you held it for 20 years, you would have made, on average, more than 13% per year.
Wow, you talk about
from that bad period.
Talk about a liftoff there, a launch. That's something.
I even looked at, you remember the 70s and how bad they were? We had inflation and the oil embargo and
president
resigning.
Et cetera. Right, yeah.
Yeah, even if you'd invested in 1970 for 20 years, you made like 8.5%.
Yeah, so again, we're not making any promises about the future here, short or long term. I don't know.
No.
I'm simply saying look back, and there is always a crisis. There's always reason to worry. There's always uncertainty. But to invest in stocks requires that leap of faith to say the future is probably going to be better than we are at this moment. Probably.
And that's what the stock market is just wonderful at you can't predict the future. It is so much fun to watch the stock market do the things that it does, because right now we've had over almost 2 months now of the stock market rising into an environment where we have 20% unemployment. That's depression level unemployment.
And this is the disconnect, because people are saying, well, wait a minute, the economy's doing this, but the market's doing that. Remember, the economy is today. The market is somewhere 6 months down the road. It's pricing in.
Somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
We don't even know where it is down the road.
But yeah, it's the future. What people investing who traders, think the future will look like. Not me, by the way, because I just put my money in for my 401k. That's what I do. I just know. I don't wait to see what's going to happen. I have no idea.
And that's really the most important thing that you need to know, is that the stock market is predicting the future for you. Basically, it's saying this is what all of us together think is going to happen. And what the best analogy of all for this is the famous jelly bean game.
The jelly bean game?
Yeah, where you put an odd amount of jelly beans in a jar.
That one, yeah.
And you ask people to tell you how many jelly beans are in the jar. And in almost every case, if you get enough people guessing, you end up with a number that is very, very close to the actual number of jelly beans. Even though many are wrong and many are right, the average comes out to be pretty accurate. And so when you have millions and millions of people predicting what the stock market is going to do in the future, you get something that looks surprisingly close to what actually happened. So you have to trust the market. And this is why the efficient market hypothesis, while not proving that at any given moment the market itself is right, has shown and should prove to you that the market at any given moment is close to right.
Well, and
it's going to get the future right.
Yeah, the market should be about, the market is the market. Your money is about you. The market is the tapestry. That's what's going on behind you. You have to invest, take care of your money based on what, as I said, your needs are, your ability to take risk. That should be the decision. Should have not one consideration about the upcoming election, about the race riots, about the pandemic, any of the rest of that, those things will always be
We're
there.
at T-minus 10
I know.
seconds
I'm
now
watching it right
launch.
on my
I'm watching
computer.
it.
So, yeah, here we go.
I know, but there may be people who aren't watching it.
there
They're in
goes.
their car
It's,
right now. They
cleared
want to
the
know what's
tower.
going to happen.
We have cleared the tower.
Look at
so
that.
there we go. It looks good.
Look at all the
Elon
that
Musk is going to be
so
smiling now.
Absolutely impressive.
Beautiful.
I tell you, these things still give me chills after watching. And I'm in Florida. I've watched a lot of these from over at the Cape, and wow.
Looking good.
Is that
Straight
a
on.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sight. Really impressive. We'll tell you what happens after the break. Thanks for being there. 855-935-TALK, our number.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
If you're sick of your self-interested financial advisor and are looking for a 100% fiduciary low-fee investment advisor, call my firm Vestory at 800-386-3004 or visit us at vestory.com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
Well, the Falcon 9 with the Dragon on it is up about 25 kilometers above the Earth going. And they do everything. Why don't we just switch to kilometers in this country and meters and centimeters? It's so much easier. It's up to like 3,000 kilometers an hour, and it looks like they're about to separate some engines because it's doing that flary cool thing that it does. I am no rocket scientist. I don't know. It looks like they're about to go, the first engine's about to go out.
They've left
stage.
Earth and they're headed to space. Let's just put it at that.
It worked.
Well, so far.
Oh, come on. They're way up there. It's going to work now.
Okay.
They just have to do the separation. And
The question
we'll,
is to you listening, is your financial plan going to work? Are your investments, are you going to make it work?
Is it on track?
Is it on track?
So-
I mean, because I read an interesting piece in the Seattle Times this week from a number of people that said, well, I thought I had my retirement all fixed up, ready to go. But now it's iffy. By the way, most of them were small business owners, and their small business has seen a great decrease in business, right? Because they either can't meet with people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the value of those businesses is less. So they were planning on selling that business to someone to get the cash to retire. Now, if you're in that situation, my heart goes out to you as a small business owner myself. There's not a quick fix to that. But if you're somebody who has been working at a company for a long time, your money's in a 401k, or you've been saving in an IRA, whatever, that your retirement should not have changed in the last 3.5 months, to my mind.
Not much.
Not much. I mean, because, again, you're looking at a short period of time here. Now, I know there's the risk of kind of what's happening at this moment. I retired in January and my portfolio went down by 20-25%. That's okay. I understand the concern there, but that should have been factored into your portfolio construction. In other words, you shouldn't be, when you retire, 100% in stocks and see your portfolio go down by 35 or 40% if you need the money anytime soon.
Not unless you're incredibly gutsy. And you may be 100% risk tolerant. But that's generally there's the age thing and then there's the risk tolerance thing. And you have to know both. That's the key. You can't just base it on age, but age is a component in that equation.
I concur.
This is so cool. You can see the guys in the capsule now.
Oh, I
got
turned it
cameras
off.
in
They
there.
got off, and I was like, okay, they're on their way.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it up on my screen because I got the big screen here, and you can see the guys inside the capsule.
Do you mind working on the show? We're doing this little radio show called Talking Real Money.
I just thought it was kind of interesting.
As you know, I wrote NASA yesterday and told them to put this launch because nobody beats our ratings. You don't want to go up against Talking Real Money. They went ahead with it, so I did the best I could.
It's okay now.
So
they're up there.
I'd say this though about your retirement. If you're over age 50, you should have a plan. I mean, you really should know what you're going to do. Now, there may be because in this article there was I think it was a woman who owned a small business and is now 60, and she had planned to sell the business in 4 or 5 years and use that cash as a big part of retirement. That's a big hiccup. I get that, but if you have a plan that you put together and you're investing in stocks and bonds, it should not have changed during this pandemic. No way.
But you know what this points out so clearly, though, is that even if you own a business, you have a small business on which you are self-reliant for your retirement, you have to remember that your risks, despite all of your efforts, your risks when owning a small business are very, very high.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing as owning an individual stock, except even more risky because it's a small business and you've got all kinds of things that can affect it, and you don't have the wherewithal to ride out some of those storms like this one. And there are going to be a lot of small business owners who are going to suffer in retirement and won't be able to do a darn thing about it because of the lack of time.
In that
That's
case,
why it's so.
Yeah, in that
you've
case,
got to diversify.
Well, you got a plan B. I got plan B. I don't know about you. I'm going to be selling pizza from the street corner for a long
My plan B is I'm moving to a cheaper house in Virginia. There you go.
You got my basement, although you wrestle my brother for that one, but good luck.
Nice. Yeah, I don't. No, not doing that. 855-935-TALK is our number, 855-935-8255. It's all about you, your life, and your money, and not about NASA anymore.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
KOMO News 1000 FM 97.7 named Associated Press Best Radio Sports Coverage. Stay connected. Stay informed. KOMO News 1000 FM 97.7 and KOMOnews.com.
Did you know I wrote a book? Yeah, about 10 years ago, I wrote a book about investing. Financial Physics, with an F, How Money and Investing Really Work. It's a short read. It's a really easy read because, well, as you know, investing is way too easy to be this complicated. And it's been on sale for a long time at Amazon. I updated it in 2018 to a new version. But if you don't want to buy it, you can go buy it at Amazon. It's $10. But if you don't want to buy it, if you want it free, well, you can get it free two ways. One, you can get a PDF copy by going to talkingrealmoney.com/free. talkingrealmoney.com/free. If you don't put in the /free, you can't find it. The other way is if you have an iDevice, like an iPhone or an iPad or a Mac, you can go get an interactive version of the book, a special edition that I made that's actually interactive, that's got videos and motion and things going on, and that's also free. Just look for Financial Physics, FYSICS, in the Apple Bookstore or Apple Books or whatever they call it now. Or go to talkingrealmoney.com/free, talkingrealmoney.com/free. And I guarantee you'll enjoy the PDF or the iBook or your money back. Check it out, talkingrealmoney.com/free.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Hello again. I'm Don McDonald. That's Tom Cock. This is Talking Real Money, your place to get answers to those nagging financial problems and questions that plague you. Give us a call at 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. If you feel like you may not be heading in the right direction, you're concerned about your portfolio, you're trying to create that plan, you need a little bit of help, we're here to help. You can call us anytime at 855-935-TALK. And we also have something new. If you have a question and you don't want to call us, and you don't want to email, you can just pop over to talkingrealmoney.com during business hours, which includes Saturday afternoons. And there's a little chat button in the corner, and you can chat with one of our advisors.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And you did it.
I did what?
We didn't have to come up with a code writing team from Microsoft to put this together. I mean, you figured out how to put it on our website.
I bought it from a service and then put it on the website.
I thought you were writing all the code. Anyway, it's very cool. And
I can copy and paste code. I know how to do that.
It's good. It works.
Yeah.
We tested it this week. I got some chats from my daughter and my wife. I mean, so we know it works. So go ahead, hit it if you prefer to do that and be a bit shy. Now, one guy who's not shy. Yes.
Yeah, earlier in the hour, we were talking about other radio shows.
Yeah.
And by far, the most popular money radio show in America is Dave Ramsey's show.
Not even close. I don't know how many stations he's on, but it's humongous.
Like 35,000, something like that. It's like every station in America.
2,000, whatever it is, yeah.
Dave is literally a religious experience. He literally is. He's in churches everywhere. And Dave gives good advice to people who have found themselves in oppressive debt. It's all good about debt. We take issue with him on his investing advice. We think it's pretty terrible. I mean, he's come out against the fiduciary rule for advisors because it would hurt those advisors that he recommends.
Yeah, there's that. He also has told people that I think he said something like he has one mutual fund he's invested in for 30-odd years that makes 12% a year. It's
it's Investment
I don't know
Company
that
of America from the American funds. And he projects that out over the market and says, see, you can make 12% a year. Well, Dave, it may have made 12% per year, but to say it's going forward is
by the way, we'll see what the return is after this year. We don't buy into that. But and
the
also,
other thing he did do, he got into big trouble a couple of years ago because he was recommending stockbrokers. Yeah. And the SEC or FINRA or somebody said, hey, Dave, you need a license to take money from them for these referrals because that's required. Yep. And he went, oh, okay, we're going to change it. I'm not going to take money for each referral. I'm just going to charge them to be on the platform. Now it's advertising.
Yeah.
You got to clean that up. But he also charges other businesses to be recommended. He does not recommend the businesses that he believes are the best. He recommends the businesses that pay him. This is a very simple fact.
Yeah, I'm not even on him for that, but here's where I am.
No.
I mean, because that's business.
But does he vet the businesses?
Well, that's another
that
issue
he slaps his name on.
We are not fan. I'm not a fan. I'm speaking for Don. I'm not a fan of timeshares in general, especially in today's world where basically I think truly, I don't even think you should go in a vacation home anywhere because I think you can go anywhere. Well, it's easier now, but even post-COVID, I think you can go anywhere you like, spend any amount of time there and pay for 2 or 3 weeks, wherever it is, and do it. I don't think you need to own anything, especially a timeshare. But Dave is under his Dave Recommends on his website. It's still there, by the way. Timeshare Exit Team. So this is a business that helps you escape those bad timeshares and charges somewhere between $3,000 and $9,000 to do so. Which I've always heard
right there in Bellevue?
Yeah, which I've always heard is impossible to get out of. But anyway, that company's in trouble with the Washington State Attorney General because they're saying they've collected. They're the AG saying they've collected these fees, but not help people get out of them, and not more than once. I mean, many, many times. And Dave has, by the way, just tweeted out again here recently that he fully supports timeshare exit team. So,
Yeah, and what he's saying, well, I want to add one more thing to this because what he's saying is timeshare is bad. These guys are good. Well, because one is this doesn't mean the other is that. We'll be right back. 855-935-TALK.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Most of you get really bad investing advice, but it's not your fault. The fault lies with the broken business model that dates back more than 100 years and some misguided investing attitudes. So, if you're ready to start investing and stop playing around with your money, you need to find a way to bypass the bad brokers and find full-time fiduciary advice. Funny, that just happens to be the name of our next free online class on June 10th at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Do you know if your financial advisor is always required to act in your best interest? Are you paying them a huge commission? Do you have a fee-based advisor and know how much they charge? Maybe you have a hodgepodge portfolio made of a variety of hot tips and changing strategies. This is just a little part of what you'll learn during our Zoom class, Bypass Bad Brokers and Find Full-Time Fiduciaries. You can register for it free right now at TalkingRealMoney.com, TalkingRealMoney.com. In addition to banishing the bad brokers, we'll tell you exactly what you need to look for in a 100% fiduciary advisor. So save your spot at Bypass Bad Brokers and Find Full-Time Fiduciaries at TalkingRealMoney.com, TalkingRealMoney.com. Click on the event button. And by the way, if you're hearing this after June 10th, 2020, the event already happened, but go to TalkingRealMoney.com anyway and see if we have some other events coming up.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
And just one more thing on this Dave Ramsey timeshare exit people, the timeshare exit team that are being sued by the Washington State Attorney General for misleading business practices. If I had somebody come to me and say, I want you to recommend me and I'll pay you. Okay, fine. If I'm going to put my name on somebody else's product, I'm going to at least look them up online, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Google. And I went to Google and I looked them up. Better Business Bureau. 360 complaints.
Wow, that's a
People
lot.
don't often complain to the Better
No,
Business Bureau.
that's something you did in 1965.
They're even so hated that people review them on Yelp.
Well,
Now, you usually review restaurants on Yelp.
and just a couple of numbers to close it out. They have been contracted. In other words, they've got money to do almost 40,000 exits. Nearly 20,000 of those are still pending 2 years or longer, and 5,000 of those are 3 years or longer. In other words, they take the money in and then they go.
And then they don't do anything.
Yeah, caveat emptor is what I'd say there. Clearly.
Or just Google them.
Well, and Dave only recommends non-fiduciary advisors.
He does.
And so we've been on him about that before too. So, that's his business model.
Well, he thinks you're going to get better. You're going to get better help from somebody who doesn't look out for your best interests.
Makes sense.
Okay, 855-935-TALK is our phone number. 855-935-8255. John, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you guys for being there. Don, I've been listening to you for probably close to 40 years on the radio.
Could be not the same. That was Don McDonald's dad. Could be the same guy. Come on.
32. Only 32.
You're a lot younger than you think, John.
Only 32. 32 on July 4th, 2020.
All right, let's say thank you, though. That's very kind.
Thank you.
Well, you guys have done a super job, and I've been to your seminars. I've listened to Paul Merriman, and you really are, I think, at the top of the market. I'm not invested with dimensional funds. I'm invested through Vanguard, but the thing
That's
I wanted
good.
to point out, and that's thanks to you too, Don. The thing I wanted to point out was that a lot of people are concerned about getting in and out of the market and timing and things like that. And you talked about a long time ago going into index funds, and that's what I've done. And the thing I wanted to point out to you, as of today, our portfolio is only down a little over 0.5% from at the start of the year.
Wow.
So
That's because it's properly balanced for your risk tolerance.
What's your stock to bond ratio?
70% stock, 30%.
Wow. Good
bond.
for you. That's saying something. Well done.
The other thing, I think it's probably, well, thanks to you guys. That's what really started me. And then I started reading about John Bogle, and the more I read, the more I was convinced that was the way to go. But the fees are really are low. I think it's less than 10 basis points for having them manage the portfolio. And I would have gone with you, but I'd already started with Vanguard. And
No, it sounds like you're doing great. We're proud of you.
Well, thanks to you. And then
Thank
you. The other reason is that they have a trust department. So the way our trust is set up, when we kick the bucket, then the money, all our real estate is sold and put in Vanguard and then invested it. And I don't know if you have a trust department. Do you have people like, for
No,
example?
we do not. We do not, but we have access to people who can do trust, but we don't have one in-house.
So,
no.
we have a couple of companies we work with who do that.
We're not as big as Vanguard.
Close.
No.
Very
Sorry.
close.
But
Close. Yeah. What's Vanguard manage these days? Like several trillion dollars or something?
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's ridiculous. Well, thank you so much for the call, John, and all the nice thoughts. We really appreciate it, and we wish you the best into the future, sir. We really do. Thank you so very much. 855-935-TALK is our phone number, 855-935-8255. You can call us anytime.
He mentioned John Bogle. Now, some of you, I hope most of you know who John Bogle was. He passed away, a year and a half ago, I want to say?
St. John the Bogle.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy, and I used to describe him this way, somebody, honestly, that was looking out for the average investor. Very few people, I hate to say it, but very few people in this industry really wake up in the morning and try to figure out how to make you, the not multi-gazillionaires, do better. And he was one of them.
Jason's
Yes, Zweig, Paul Merriman.
John Bogle.
There's a few of them. But
Paul
the
Merriman,
point is,
Don McDonald, and Tom
because this
Cox.
came up. Thank you. This came up in the conversation. One of the conversations this week, because the fellow I was talking to said, "Hey, I'm a Bogle follower." That opened the door because he was very worried about all the things going on, as we talked about earlier in the show. And I said, my favorite John Bogle quote always is, "Nobody knows nothing." In other words, anything that's happened we know about, but moving forward, nobody knows nothing.
You want to know my second favorite? That's my favorite.
I love
agree.
that one.
Nobody knows nothing. As a matter of fact, it's even the title of one of the chapters of Financial Physics. Nobody knows nothing. My second favorite one, though, I love this one. He told it in terms of a joke to me one time when I was interviewing him, and it's, don't just do something, stand there.
Yeah. That was one of his favorite
He said,
lines.
we always want to do something.
Gotta
we
fix
feel
it.
like, well,
Yep.
I've got to do something. The market's misbehaving or it's behaving or I need to do something. Please, somebody tell me what to do. And his belief was you build it right to begin with. And when you feel like you need to do something, just stand there.
Dan, by the way, I worked in my personal relationships as well. So thank you, John, for that.
Did it?
Yeah.
Did it really?
Yeah, it did. Sometimes I just listen.
Just
I don't
stand
try
there.
to fix it. I just listen.
Stand there.
Because
totally silent.
you're not going to be able to fix
Not
it
gonna
anyway.
speak.
It ain't going to happen. I can't come up with anything that's going to make it better. Let's put it that
A
way.
life of being married. That is
there
the
you go.
lesson learned.
If there's one, that probably gets you a lot of the way.
Well, that one's going to carry you then through the financial part of your life and the relationships. That's really all you need to know. We're done. Thanks for being a part of the show. Thanks for listening to us. We're going to retire on that high note
No
right now.
chats yet either. This was your big idea, and we don't get any chats.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Well,
Standing,
I said
not
it's
doing
kind of
anything.
nice to have it in
okay.
case somebody
Oh.
wants to chat. But I didn't think they were just going to be chomping at the bit to go to Vestory and chat with an advisor. But you never know.
Right.
You know, and if you're a client, you can go in there and get support and all that kind of stuff without picking up the phone. It's mainly for those who are more comfortable online than on the phone.
The chat itself is inexpensive, but we had to go to every advisor's home and put in sirens and those big lights so that when the chat came on,
to wake them up
at 3 in the morning.
Well, because they're all working from home.
Yeah, right. I haven't seen
Wake
any
them
of them
up
in
at 3 in the
weeks.
morning.
I have no idea.
We only have the hours are 7 to 4.
No, I'm kidding.
We are
That
not
was always one of my
slave drivers.
hopes. 24/7. Get up. We got a chat ready
Well,
to be
now
answered.
let me give you Tom's phone number. He will answer it 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to give it out. 855-935-TALK. I want to give you that number, though. That's an important number because not only does it work when we're here on Saturdays from 3 to 5 Eastern, noon to 2 Pacific time, but it also works 24/7. You can call and leave your question, and then during the week, I'll answer that on one of the podcasts. So give us a call anytime at 855-935-8255.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
If you're sick of your self-interested financial advisor and are looking for a 100% fiduciary low-fee investment advisor, call my firm Vestory at 800-386-3004 or visit us at vestory.com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
One of the things we're going to talk about in the next hour or the next podcast, if you're listening to the podcast, is bad brokers, people who provide bad investing advice. And we've run into so many cases of this that we're going to do a special online class called Bypass Bad Brokers and Find Full-Time Fiduciaries. We're going to do that on June 10th on Zoom. So it's really easy. You can do it from your house. It's really safe and it's absolutely free. So just go sign up. You know, there's no cost, no obligation, no nothing. You just go sign up at talkingrealmoney.com/new-events, or just click the events button. That's the easiest way. Go to talkingrealmoney.com, talkingrealmoney.com, and sign up for this class, clicking on the events button.
We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for educational and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately and consistently predict the future. So past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Vestry, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and disclosures. That's a wrap.